Hello, friends. I'm so glad you could join me today. I am documenting my journey on becoming debt-free again, so welcome to Second Chance Budgeting. I'll be exploring cash stuffing and unstuffing, finding ways to increase my income, and saving towards some big goals, all while digging myself out of debt once again. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you join me during my adventures. Today, it's time to figure out how I did in the month of June. So what I need to do is I need to unstuff expenses and different things that I spent throughout the month and pay myself back for those things. And then I also need to do a sinking funds update. So I'm going to count everything in my sinking funds and my binders and figure out how I did for the month. So let's start with the unstuffing. And I've got a list off to the side. I'm sure you probably can't see it. It's a camera view, but let's just start with my basic expenses and unstuff those first. I've got $40 in change here, so we should be good to go. Okay, so for food, I need to unstuff a total of $168.57, so I will take out $169. So 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 80. And that means that I need to give myself 11 and change. All right, so I've got $31 left over, and what I have been doing with that is paying that towards my vehicle loan. So I'm going to set this off to the side. All right, so for gas, I need to unstuff a total of $97.76. So I did make a purchase that I'm considering part of my gas money. I bought a car vacuum for around $45. So because I would just take that out of car maintenance, and like anything in excess here goes into car maintenance, I'm just going to take it out of my gas money. So I'm unstuffing $97.76. I'm rounding that to 98. So take all that, give myself $2 and change. And like I said, that is going to go into car maintenance. I just kind of shortcutted all of that. All right, so $2 there, and we'll count that when we get into the sinking funds update. All right, other, I did pretty good there. So let's see, I need to unstuff $33.04, so I'm just going to round that to 33. So I'll take out 40. And that means that I'm going to give myself $7 and change. So I've got 57 left over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into my other surplus category. I'm trying to beef this up to about $1,000, and then anything left over from there will just go into debt, or if I am out of debt, like it'll go towards different goals that I have. So perfect. All right, let's see anything else in this binder. Let's see, giving, I need to unstuff $10.14, so I'll just unstuff $10. Perfect. All right, well, that is everything for this binder. So I need to get into my home binder and unstuff quite a bit from there. So internet, I need to unstuff 25. So 10, 20, 25. Perfect. For home maintenance, I need to unstuff 1306, so I'll just do 13. We'll do 23, and I'll grab a 10 back. Okay. And then home supplies, I need to unstuff 4213, so I'll just do 42. So let me do let me do this a different way. I'm going to unstuff 50, and then I'll give myself $8 and change. Okay. I didn't really spend for home decor, so that's good. And then garden, sadly, most everything's going to get unstuffed. I went ahead and did the garden as much as possible with what I had. So I spent a total of $185.76. So I'll unstuff 186. So 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 80. Okay, so 190. And then that means I need to give myself $4 and change. I am surprised I have anything left over, to be honest. But that's okay. It is going good. I have little baby tomatoes. I'm so excited for them. So, all right. Well, let me take out $40 for my change fund, and it looks like I'm definitely going to need to get some change before next unstuffing. And then, so if I should be somewhere in the ballpark of about $575 is what needs to go back to the bank. So hopefully we're in the ballpark there. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and put this money into my debt fund while I'm thinking about it. Okay. All right, let's count this up. So I've got 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82, 20, 40, 60, 83, 20, 40, 60, 84, 20, 40, 60, 85, 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, and 76. So 576. So I'm $1 over, but that's totally fine. This is pretty thick, so I'm just going to set this off to the side, and this will definitely go back to the bank. I know if I stuff too much money in that envelope, it just doesn't like it. So I'm going to put that off to the side, and then I am going to rearrange and get set up for sinking funds updates. So you'll see a change when I come back. All right, on to the sinking funds. All right, so I'm starting off with my expense binder, and so we're going to go back into food surplus, although I know it's still at $600, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark that. That's 3 months worth of food, so $500 is in the bank, and then I have $100 just in case I need to buy some extra supplies or go to a restaurant, something like that. Okay, so for carb maintenance, I started June with 507, and now I've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 509. So that increased by $2. Other surplus, I started with 587. Getting pretty thick. So I've got 100, 200, 300, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40, 60, 80, 600, 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, 41, 42, 43, and 44. So 644. And got my calculator to help me. And that is a change of $57. Perfect. And then giving, I started the month with 165, and now I have 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75, 275. So that increased by 110. All right, well, that is everything for this binder. Let's get into my savings and debt binder. Okay. So medical, I started the month with 571, and now I've got 500 in the bank, 20, 40, 60, 80, 91. So that increased by 20. For my emergency savings, I started the month with 1,000, and that really hasn't changed. It's still at 1,000. Okay, and then savings, I started the month with 1,900, and now I've got 1,500 in the bank, 100, 20, sorry, so that would be 1,600, 20, 40, 60, 80, 17, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,800, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,900. So no change there. And the reason for that is I've decided that I'm taking my $40 that I generally set aside from every paycheck, and I am taking that money and putting it into a retirement fund instead. I haven't figured out quite what I'm doing with this savings amount. I may just go ahead and contribute all that into retirement, but for right now, it's fine in there. But that's a change that has happened as of the very beginning of June. So, all right, so month ahead fund is still at $500. Once I'm out of debt, I'll probably start stuffing this amount. Right now, I'm only doing savings challenges to contribute money towards that, but that'll be my next focus after I'm out of debt, is to really beef up. So I'm going to start saving for that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, and so yeah, that's the plan. Car insurance, I started the month with $60. And now I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, and 40. So that's an increase of 80. All right, let's get into my personal binder. All right, for clothes, I started the month with 381. Now I've got 100, 200, 300, 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 95, and 96. I believe that's 15, but it's always good to double check. Yes, that increased by 15. And then my fun money, I started the month with 346, and now I've got 100, 200, 300, 20, 40, 41. So that decreased by $5. All right. Travel, I started the month with 552, and now I've got 500 in the bank, 20, 40, 60, 70, 75, 76, and 77. So that grew by 25. And then car registration, I am not contributing to that any longer. So it is still at 225. Perfect. And then holidays, I started the month with 137. And now I've got 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 50, 51, and 52. Okay, and that grew by 15. And my next fund is hobbies. I started the month with 50, and now I've got 20, 40, 60. So that grew by 10. Perfect. All right, well, let's get into my house savings binder. So even though I have used most of the money in there, until I finish using everything, I'm still going to keep this binder. And then my plan for it is to go ahead and use this probably for like a side hustle, like savings binder, something like that. But I still have a couple of sinking funds in here. So down payment fund and closing costs are completely empty. Moving, I started the month with 87. I don't know if I touched it. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 85, 86, and 87. Okay, so no change there. I've kind of debated what to do with this money, if I should put it towards debt, or I know for a couple months I'm probably just going to have crazy expensive like house purchases and expenses relating to the house. So my thought, I'm not really sure if I should use it for that. It's kind of like a extra fund for that, or if maybe I just wait a month or two, and then if I haven't used it, go ahead and put it towards debt. But haven't figured that out, haven't decided. Okay. Furniture, I started the month with 800, and I believe I still have, 800 left there. Purchases are coming, definitely. I'm just trying to figure out how best to use this money. So, all right. So my next binder that I want to get into is my savings challenge binder. And my first goal, I started June with 771, and now I've got 500 in the bank, 600, 20, 40, 60, 87, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 85, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98, and 99. So 799. And that means that it grew by $28. Okay. My second goal, I started with $7. And now I've got 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. And that means that it grew by 27. Okay. My third goal, I started with 815. And now I've got 500 in the bank, 600, 700, 20, 40, 60, 80, 800, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47, and 48. So 848. That means it grew by 33. All right, my fourth goal, I started with $21. And now I've got 20, 40, 45, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, and 56. So that means it grew by 35. Perfect. And then my fifth goal, I started the month with 63. And now I have 20, 40, 45, and 46. So when it decreases like that, that means that I accomplished a goal and I'm starting on the next one. So that must have been one of the goals that I accomplished already. So that decreased by 17. And then my sixth goal, I started with 84, and now I've got 20, 40, 45, 46, 47, and 48. So again, another goal down, and that decreased by 36. All right, I've got one binder left. That goes on the second page, and then we'll start adding everything up. So that would be my house binder. All right, for internet, I started the month with $1, and I still have that dollar. And then for maintenance, I started the month with 148, and now I've got 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 75. So 175. And that means that that fund grew by 27. Perfect. For home supplies, I started the month with 200. And now I've got 100, 20, 40, 60, 70, 75, 76, 77, and 78. So that's a decrease of 22. All right, for home decor, I started with 200, and now I have 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 10, and 15. So 215, and that grew by 15. And then my garden, I started with 180, and now I've got 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Okay. Oops. Okay, so that's a decrease of 166. Perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to add everything up. Let me spread these out. So I'm going to add everything up in the current month, and I'm going to see what the total is there. Then I'm going to subtract those two numbers and see if this column will equal that. And that means if it all equals, then that means that I did everything correct. If it doesn't, then that means I have messed something up somewhere, and I'll fix it in post. But I'm going to speed you up, so I'm going to go ahead and start now. Okay, so I got 11,211. Okay, so if I subtract out 10,958, oh, I didn't do that correctly, minus 10,958. Okay, so that means if I did it correctly, then everything grew by 253, but I'm going to double check using these, so I will speed you up again. Okay, so that did equal a positive 253. So overall, you know, my sinking funds grew by 253, but considering what had to go out in June as far as stuff for the house, stuff for the garden, I'm pretty happy with that progress. I also am putting a lot more towards debt. And that should be the next video coming out. So I have a couple of payments. I'm not sure if when they're posting, So we'll have to wait and see there. So I'm pretty happy with that progress. I know it's only a little bit, but I feel like slow and steady wins the race. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's everything I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If so, please do all the things. Like, leave me a comment or question down below, and subscribe for more. Let me know how you did in the month of June. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.